Bonjour à tout le monde. Good morning, everybody. Can we please close the doors? Luba, can you please close the doors? Thank you very much. It is my great pleasure to welcome our dear chairperson, the Minister of Culture of Azerbaijan, and I would like to invite him to give the opening speech.
Distinguished members of the World Heritage Committee, dear state parties, dear colleagues on the advisory board, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to be here with you today on the occasion of the information and orientation session dedicated to the 43rd session of the World Heritage Committee, which we suppose and looking forward to happen in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, on 30th of June until 10th of July this year. Of course, it's an honor for my country to be the host of such a distinguished body. It's also a personal matter of honor to me. I had an honor to be the chair of the Committee for the Intangible Heritage in 2013, so it is my second experience and I hope it will be not less successful like the previous one. I believe the participation of Azerbaijan and chairing the conference demonstrates the deep commitment and involvement of our country in the implementation of the World Heritage Convention and the utmost importance it is giving to the values of heritage and to the necessity to conserve and protect it. It also underlies the commitment of my country to the inherent duties attached to this convention. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, in a few minutes my team will present you important information regarding the organization of the session and practical arrangements for your stay in Baku. Allow me to say only a few words before that. We all know that the preservation and conservation of our heritage, as well as its transmission to future generations, are priorities which lie at the heart of the Convention. Therefore, to address these two major priorities, the Republic of Azerbaijan perpetuates the tradition of organizing in recent years two special events in conjunction with the World Heritage Committee session. In this regard, and to reinforce young people's awareness and commitment to the protection of heritage, the Ministry of Culture is organizing, together with the UNESCO's Heritage Education Program, the World Heritage Young Professionals Forum 2019 under the theme World Heritage Local Insights for Global Challenges. It will take place starting on 23rd of June to 2nd July. In the same endeavor, to enhance the awareness of the importance of the World Heritage decision-making processes among the managers and with a view to allow the Convention to fulfill its potential as a tool and catalyst for World Heritage protection, another event, a Site Managers Forum, will be held in Baku from 26th of June to 4th of July. This forum will be the occasion to unite representatives from the World Heritage properties with those at the heart of the World Heritage protection procedures. Dear colleagues, as you have noticed from the agenda and timetable that were disseminated recently, the 43rd session of the committee has a very heavy agenda. I hope that our session of this morning will be helpful in the preparation of issues that will be addressed in the city of Baku. Indeed, besides the examinations of more than 160 state of conservation reports and 38 nominations to the World Heritage List, we will have to pursue and enrich our reflections on methods of work towards a more credible, balanced and representative World Heritage List. The discussion is notably being held with the framework of the ad hoc working group established by the committee in 2014, which continued its work very closely with the members of the committee, state parties, advisory bodies throughout the year, and has chaired this ad hoc group. Azerbaijan was the chairing the ad hoc group, and we will be happy to report you during this session about the information about the activity. Moreover, we will have to ensure objective and constructive decisions are taken in a spirit of dialogue and consensus during our forthcoming session. Thus, to allow for better preparation to this common work, it is also my pleasure to inform you that an orientation session for committee members is scheduled for today at 11:30, immediately after this informational session. To respond to the specific request by committee members, orientation sessions are organized prior to the committee's annual sessions. These meetings, jointly prepared by the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies, aim to assist the committee members in their preparation to the session in the best possible condition. Such sessions contribute to assist in the process of objective and constructive decisions by committee members and recall the processes to follow or take into account in the decision-making as required by the Convention, the operational guidelines, as well as the rules of procedure. This session will cover several topics and key notions related to relevant procedures in the framework of the implementation of the Convention, including outstanding universal value and state of conversation. As you know, another orientational session will be organized immediately prior to the 43rd session of the committee on 30th of June, one day in advance of the opening ceremony, to give you another opportunity to raise any questions you may still have. Dear colleagues, I will not take your time too much. Allow me just to reiterate that as a chairperson, I will do my best to provide you with the best conditions possible to achieve the work which stands before us for this 43rd session. In this regard, please be aware that I am at your entire disposal to facilitate dialogue, to ensure your convenient conditions in the country of Azerbaijan. We will try to provide you also with the very rich cultural program, and I hope that you will be satisfied with the organizational situation and the hospitality provided to all those who will participate during this meeting. Thank you for your attention. So now I'm going to start my responsible obligations. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, now we will turn to the organization of the 43rd session on the World Heritage Committee. In this regard, I propose that we will give the floor to the delegation of Azerbaijan, which will be responsible for all these matters during the session. The chief of the working group of the committee, the chief of department of the ministry, Vasif Eyvazadeh. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before having the presentation, I would like to invite all of you to watch a short presentation video about the host country.
Welcome to the 43rd session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee. Situated at the crossroads of East and West, where different cultures and civilizations meet, Azerbaijan reflects that unique position in its broad diversity of nationalities and faiths living together in harmony. Hundreds of intriguing historical sites dating from ancient times and cultures have been preserved in Azerbaijan, demonstrating that local nations have honored their cultural heritage down through the centuries. The visible result is the highly tolerant and inclusive society seen here today. The walled city of Baku, with the Shirvanshah's Palace and Maiden Tower inscribed into the UNESCO World Heritage List together with Flame Towers and Haydar Aliyev Center as a symbol of development, created harmony, an extraordinary synthesis of East and West, ancient and modern. Today, Azerbaijan is a rapidly developing, independent country, building a modern secular state based on strong national traditions. A noteworthy component of Azerbaijan's national and foreign policy is the protection and promotion of its moral values, its historical and cultural heritage, and its unique significance on the world stage. Combining Western and Eastern architectural elegance, Baku is without question one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The World Forum on Intercultural Dialogue, the Baku International Humanitarian Forum, and various other global forums on intercultural and intercivilization dialogues and events are traditionally held here. Additional experience was gained from the Eurovision Song Competition, the first European Games, the fourth Islamic Solidarity Games, Formula One Grand Prix, the 7th Global Forum of the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, and the 8th session of the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage. All these large-scale and prestigious events have been very well served, thanks to hospitality of the local people and Baku's transportation and tourism infrastructure. Azerbaijan and its capital city Baku is remarkably well suited to welcome guests of the 43rd session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee and assure them a memorable experience. Welcome to Azerbaijan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be very short about the presentation because we provided information in the general information document, which is on the website of the committee session, and I'll be more brief and focus on the technical issues. Then I'll be happy to respond to your questions. Actually, starting with registration, the registration which has been launched from the beginning of April is active on the website, and guests are still registering their participation. We have already around 1,000 registered participants, except the site managers forums and the young professionals forum. We work closely with UNESCO Secretariat while preparing online registration process, an application and control panel database to make it comfortable and easy to navigate from both guests of session and UNESCO. This soft will be used for on-site registration and badge distribution as well. Here are the badge designs that we have developed for the event, and each category has a unique color code accordingly. We have prepared them in close communication with the focal points of UNESCO Secretariat, in particular with the World Heritage Center. At the venue, we will have a special entrance during the session, directing to the accreditation desk, where 10 to 20 trained persons will provide badge distribution and on-site registration. Special desk for difficult registration cases and special waiting area will also be set up in the center. So we will have this event in the Baku Congress Center. Then I'll give more information about the Baku Congress Center. Next, we would like to give you information about the visa procedure, which is very crucial for everyone, and it's a very important process. There are 3 ways of getting visa to enter Azerbaijan to attend this session. First, participants can apply for visas through consulates and diplomatic missions of the Republic of Azerbaijan in their home countries. Second way, the easiest way of getting visa, which we always recommend the session participants, e-visa, which is the electronic standard visa and is issued within 3 working days. And there is also an electronic urgent visa which can be issued within 1 day. So it's another option. And the third option is, in particular, for this session, according to the decision of the government of the Republic of Azerbaijan, the participants of the session will be able to obtain visa upon arrival at the international airports of Azerbaijan by submitting an official letter of invitation of UNESCO for the session, and the written approval of accreditation according to the relevant procedures of UNESCO. So when you apply, when you register, you have a confirmation from the host operational team and of course from the center. So you can provide this document as well, then you can get your visa upon arrival in the airport. So the session participants will be welcomed at the Heydar Aliyev International Airport, which is not far from the center, has recently been awarded as a 5-star regional airport by the International Air Transport Rating Organization. So there will be special desk, and our team will meet you in the airport, and they will arrange all transportation from the airport to the listed hotels. So the special branded welcome desk, as I mentioned, will be set up at the airport. While you are arriving, will welcome you and provided with all information about transportation, shuttle services. So from the airport, you will get all necessary information about these all technical issues. Speaking about accommodation, as you are aware, we provided more than 20 hotels in the website that you can apply and you can book the hotels through the company, which has the special rates for the hotels. And if you have any problem with the hotel or accommodation issues, you can also directly write to our operational team. There are emails, then we can assist you, we can ease the process. As I mentioned, the event will be held in Baku Convention Center, which is multifunction complex designed to host such kind of international events and presentations, many meetings, plenaries, and etc., etc. So this area will be allocated for this particular event, and you will have a special map during the session, so you will have all necessary directions to each room, and you will see what happened in which room, so you will have all this information there. So as mentioned in the video, we have many events in this venue, and it's already experienced venue and experienced team that will help us in the venue. So you can see the pictures of the venue. And of course the main hall, which can accommodate 3,500 participants at in the same time. So it's a quite big hall, and it has very good facilities for such kind of events. So, and another exceptional and important point is that this convention center is just located near to the Heydar Aliyev Center, which is the famous, which is built or designed by the famous Iraqi British architect Zaha Hadid, and it has very distinctive architecture and flowing curve style, etc. So you will have a chance to just cross the way and to see this interesting building and to visit the museums there, and etc. The rooms in the Baku Convention Center have been equipped in accordance with the technical requirements of UNESCO, and there is 3D visual presentation of the rooms. So there will be side events, meetings, bureau meetings, and all offices. So all necessary people will be there. So we received approximately 35 side events. Now we are in consultation with the World Heritage Center. So we are working with them and working on them to decide and to allocate the rooms and with necessary equipment for this side event. As Minister and Chairman mentioned about the two important events, these events are integral part of the World Heritage Committee, and it's going to be organized by the host country. The one is Young Professionals Forum, of the World Heritage Young Professionals Forum. So it will be start on 23rd of June and until 2nd of July. And the next one will be Site Managers Forum. It will start on 26th. So we have already finalized the listing process. We have received more than 400 applications for the Young Professionals Forum. And according to our agreement with the World Heritage Center, we selected 30 countries, and they have already informed, and now our team is working with them, arranging their travel and their program. So they have a very interesting program, and it's a very good chance for everyone to meet with young professionals, and we are going to integrate them to the session as well to get necessary experiences and to be in, let's say, in close contact with you and experts as well. And of course, the Site Managers Forum also will be mostly in the convention center. So they have very interesting program, and this time we have a new experience. We proposed the World Heritage Center, and we thank them for their approval on that. So we are trying to integrate the Young Professionals Forum program to the Site Managers Forum, and this is the first time of the history of the heritage. The site managers and young professionals will have one-day joint meeting. So it will be good experience to, let's say, provide the legacy or to the experience to the young generation. So as I mentioned about the side events, so we received many requests concerning side events and the technical requirements. So we have some technical support in the existing rooms, but sometimes we have additional requirements. So we already provided the contact of the companies, which will help us during the committee and the venue. So they will assist to the concerned party, requested party, to arrange their technical, let's say, requirements. For the first time, this time we developed special application on the basis of the website of the committee session. So upon your arrival, so you will have a chance to download the application through Apple Store and to follow all the process, all the issues through this application in your phone. So you will use this opportunity as well during the session. So we have very interesting program for the opening on June 30, starting from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So you will be provided in coming days about the exact program of the cultural program. It will be about the history and culture of the host country and also the developing the civilization in our region. So you will be enjoyed with this opening ceremony. And also we have a closing session on the 2nd of July. So we will inform you about the closing program in coming days. That's all what I would like to share with you from the operational team. As we provided in the website, you have all contacts of our operational team for particular issues. So you can write your request anytime you want. So then we will try to assist you to respond you timely. So I'm here for responding to questions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I would only like to add that apart from the official meetings which were described here, we are preparing quite an interesting cultural programs all over the days, and in the evenings you can enjoy the theaters, the museums, the cultural events specially organized for this event. Additionally, we applied to the State Agency for Tourism to set the possibilities for daily trips to the historical places, including visits to the region, with all the necessary precautions of the security and food and meal and whatever. So I would like to thank the chief of the department. Now I invite you to raise the questions, and maybe there are some matters which you are concerned about. Maybe we will be ready to answer the questions which we have a team here which is responsible for visa matters, for technical matters, and for registration matters. So each of them is here to provide all necessary information for you. You're welcome. I can go further with inscribing the beauties of our country and readiness of the committee to hold the meeting there. But really, it must be noted that very successful experience of such kind of events is existing due to cooperation with UNESCO and to cooperation with other respectable bodies like United Nations Alliance of Civilization, United Nations World Tourism Organization, Council of Europe, Organization of Islamic Countries, which are united to organize every second year the special World Forum for Intercultural Dialogue. And I can say that in the report of the United Nations General Secretary of last year, this forum was noted like the most important global platform for intercultural dialogue existing today. I know a lot of countries' representatives, most of you know, have been participated there, and it is was really a successful experience. The other experience that we had, the 7th World Global Forum of Alliance of Civilizations. The last one was at AIDS. The AIDS Forum held recently in New York. The new management of the new leadership of Alliance of Civilization participated at the last meeting and declared their will to cooperate with the government of Azerbaijan on organizing such kind of events further. We had experience for the Intangible Heritage Committee. I told you that I had an honor to be the chair. The team of UNESCO was so professional that it didn't permit us even to have any additional questions, and we successfully finalized it. The other thing which I would like to note that I will try to do my best to fulfill the schedule. I don't want all of you to come and sit until deep night in the meetings discussing the questions. I want you to enjoy your work with the successful results and some entertainment which we can provide to you while being in Azerbaijan. The weather, I promise you, will be okay. So it is. So Canada, you have a question.
Thank you for this information session, quite useful. Sorry, I arrived a little bit late. Maybe you mentioned the shuttle system. Are all the hotels in the brochure deserved by the shuttle system, or because if we take another hotel that is not mentioned, how
the hotels which are included in the proposal, which is on the site, will be provided with the shuttle transportation to the venue during the day. So, and we will provide also shuttles to the venues where we will have some special cultural events like opening, closing ceremonies, some special related. The others?
If I may add, Mr. Chairman, actually we put the list of hotels in the website. Actually, I've seen the list of hotels there, but if the hotel that your delegation or another delegation will reserve not in the list that we provided, we will see it's not far from the hotel that we have in the list. We will arrange some point to use that transportation, but we advise to our participants that mostly to use the listed hotels. But as far as I received information from our reservation team, there are some requests, for example, in the Old Town, that the hotels are not in our list. They are trying to book in that hotel, so we will have some shuttle points near to that area that the person who booked hotel there, they can use this shuttle service as well. Thank you.
Republic of Korea, please.
Thank you for your kind explanation and detailed information about the session. We have two technical questions. First of all is there electric outlet installed on the desk? So as we have here in this room, because all of them is working with computers, so sometimes electricity is very important. So we wonder if each electric outlet is installed in each desk, in the desk. And second question is, Republic of Korea is non-state member, so we wonder any seats any desk seats are designated for each non-state member so that we can arrange our seat arrangement in the room.
Very briefly, that the questions that you raised, so the issues you raised will be arranged during the session. So don't worry for that. There will be additional seats, and also there will be technical facilities for your computers and etc. in the desk.
Directly at the place. There will be special charger sockets to have this possibility. And about the place for not members of the committee, of course, there will be provided places for all the states who will be state parties, which will desire to be there in the hall. You are aware that the tradition of transmitting all the information directly on the website will be followed, and you can also check it as it was noticed on the mobile version or the other, systems which will be acceptable for you. We will provide the place. The hall is big enough. It will be organized in the way to make access to everyone who would like to participate there.
Minister, if I may add, we have received all technical requirements of the event itself from the World Heritage Center, and its experienced, let's say, technical requirement that we will provide all the necessary. If you have any other questions concerning with the specific technical issues, you can also ask to the center, especially to Mr. David Martel. Thank
you. Maybe any other question? Okay, then I will move to another, not less important matter. You will be provided with, the committee members will be, the food facilities, everything will be organized. Within the very close reach of this venue, there will be a lot of small restaurants, traditional restaurants, places to have some food, to enjoy it, walking and so on. The previous, my position was the Minister of Tourism also. The logo of Azeri Tourism is as following. For those who don't want to lose the weight. Please note that food will be attractive, and you must be ready to know that you will be a little bit suffering from a variety of food. For vegans, vegetarians, everyone, they will be provided every necessary conditions. So be ready to gain a couple of kilos and come back. So, if there is no other questions, I would like to once more inform you that all necessary information you will find on the in the presentation. It will be on the website, and don't hesitate to write to us on our mail. Our team is working 24 hours. We have a special group dedicated to preparation of this event within the ministry, and the other state and non-governmental bodies, according to the decree issued by His Excellency President of the country, Ilham Aliyev. The special committee responsible for holding this important event is organized according to his decree. I'm in two phases, so I'm responsible for that. But all the government members are members of this committee, and their responsibilities are under the legitimation of the President of the country. So everyone knows what to do, how to act, and we hope that this committee will be successful in cooperation with the World Heritage Center for all the tiny matters which can occur. So I would like now to give the floor to the Director of the World Heritage Center, Mrs. Rossler, who will present the next matter on our schedule, which concerns the review of the agenda, timetable, and documents for this session. We're listening to you, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, and I can confirm personally the preparations of the World Heritage Committee because I attended one of these sessions of the preparatory committee in Baku, and I was quite impressed. I've never seen a preparatory committee with ministers attending in such a number. I am going with you through the preparations for this session, but let me also introduce the team here on the podium. Our Deputy Director, Jyoti, who is in place since the 1st of November, and Petya Tocharova, who is running the PSM team. And we have today the pleasure to have our rapporteur. Mahani is here. She will be on our podium in Baku, and she will be the direct contact point for the committee members, for any amendments, etc. So I will now run you through. The most important, next slide please, is of course what you just heard. You need to register for the session. We follow, of course, the rules of procedure. You all know Rule 8. Not only the state parties of the World Heritage Convention, we have 193 in total, of which 21 are members of the committee, but also the observers who need to write to us and to be registered here online following the rules of procedure. Next one, please. You see also a camera in this room. I take the opportunity to explain to you. We are not only on live stream at the committee session, which was a decision of the World Heritage Committee in 2012 when we were in St. Petersburg, which is very good for full transparency. Also, colleagues at home can see what happened to their sites or their nominations. But we do today a filming of the session because we have some events in parallel. I think the African group is meeting at some events. And I'm looking at the ambassador of Burkina. Burkina will be hosting a meeting of the African team there with the 5 African committee members, and of some of which cannot attend today. So we made facilities that the session is filmed today together with the orientation session so that the African countries can benefit from your deliberations today. So as I said, we are live streamed on our webpage. So you can follow the full session from the 1st of July to the 10th of July. Next one, please. We also have everything on a USB key. That's also something we introduced in around 2010 because we would like to be eco-friendly and we would like to green UNESCO instead of piles of papers. You have all the documents, not only online on our webpage, including the last documents, but also a USB stick will be provided to you. Next one, of course, what you should bring with you, or you should know it by heart actually, especially the committee members, is the basic text, and especially 2 texts here, the operational guidelines, of course the convention itself, the operational guidelines, but also the rules of procedure, which we will be using. All of this is in the basic text, and I recommend that you bring your own copy. We have some copies, of course, but you bring your own copy, especially those attending the operational guidelines group. So that would be very important that you take it with you. Now, let me go through the agenda, the timetable, and the different documents and information regarding working groups. I think that is very important. We will start on Sunday the 30th. This is very important for especially the committee members and even more so for the bureau members, because we will start at 2 p.m. with a bureau session. At this Bureau session, we will fulfill the functions of the Bureau, which is to review the agenda and the timetable, etc., for the committee and any issues which may occur. This will be, of course, chaired by the chairperson. And so as we have a session of the Bureau on Sunday, we will not have a Bureau session on Monday morning. So this is very important for those who will come to the Bureau. Then at 3 o'clock we will do another orientation session, especially for the committee members, but of course all states parties are very much welcome to attend that, because then you can also familiarize yourself with the committee room, and it will be of course an occasion for the chairperson and myself to test the committee room and to see where are actually the committee members sitting, the advisory bodies whom I welcome today. You have them all with us, ICOMOS, ICROM and IUCN. And so you can also find your seats then in the committee room and familiarize yourself. Then we will have an opening session at 7 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, and believe me, I think that will be a very nice event. They have a very dedicated team to prepare a nice ceremony. Then, if we go then to the next day, we have, of course, the opening of the World Heritage Committee on the Monday morning, with the next item, which is the admission of the observers. So you have item 2, you have the list of observers in front of the committee, who will look into that and adopt the list of observers to this session. Then item 3, you have the adoption of the agenda and the timetable. As I said yesterday to our chairperson, the timetable is for us the most important one, because we try to facilitate, to make it possible that we complete this very heavy agenda, I have to say, in time and without night sessions, because this is one of the, I think, the only convention where we have, thanks to an intervention of Switzerland, a formal decision by this committee not to have night sessions. So you can be sure to have your evening events, because we have this committee. Very clever, says the chairperson, very clever decision. Then we move to item 4, and I see that our former rapporteur is also in the room, Mrs. Zeichner, who will report on the last session of the World Heritage Committee in Bahrain. So to brief you on all the members and observer states on the outcome of the last session. And then we will move to open a number of items which we will keep open during the session. First of all, it's item 14, and that is in order to constitute the consultative body, which we call the Budget Working Group. This is practically a standing working group during the World Heritage Committee. The next one is, and this year we have 2, the next one is the constitution of the consultative body on the operational guidelines. Now, we are aware that a number of members, especially of the committee, but other delegations may have reduced teams, so we made sure that these 2 consultative bodies are consecutive, so they are not in parallel, which means you can have your lunch and you have for 1 hour either the operational guidelines group or the budget group. Then there is item 12, which we also open, because that's the follow-up to the recommendations of evaluations and audits, and it's also the outcome of the ad hoc group. So there may be further discussions throughout the session, which you may wish to take into account. So we open the item, and then you consider it on the, if I'm not mistaken, on the 10th of July, and you close the item at that point in case you had added any other issues and requests to the decision of the committee. Then we will move, we are still on Monday, we are moving then to item 5A, which is the report of the World Heritage Center on the activities and the implementation of the decisions this committee has taken. So I will give a detailed report to you on all of this. The document has been already dispatched. Now, then we will come probably around lunchtime, Mr. Chair, to the message of the young people. As you have just heard, there will be 2 fora before the World Heritage Committee. There will be the Forum of the Young People, and there will be the Site Managers Forum. And the young people will present their message to the full World Heritage Committee. It's always a very exciting event, and it's very interesting what the young people have to tell us. Then we come, probably after lunch on a Monday, we come to the reports of the advisory bodies, which you will look into that. And then we come to 2 items which are really important, which are the item 5C, which is on the World Heritage Convention and Sustainable Development. Jyoti will present this item. This is a very critical one. As you know, it's not only on Agenda 2030, but it's actually on the implementation of the policy which the General Assembly adopted in 2015 on World Heritage and Sustainable Development. Then we come to item 5D. This is also a very critical item, and it's the first time in the history of this convention that we have this item on the agenda, which is item 5D on priority Africa, sustainable development, and World Heritage. And in this regard, I just remind you that we also have on Monday and Tuesday next week, so 3rd and 4th of June, here in UNESCO, the Africa-China Forum, where a lot of discussions are taking place, also in relation to sustainable development. So some of the representatives here may wish also to come to this event. Then item 5E, that's another request which came from the World Heritage Committee to have an item on the strengthening of the dialogue between the advisory bodies and states parties, and that we will discuss also on the Monday. Now we come to the 2 major items of this World Heritage Committee session. The 2 key items where many people from your countries are coming is item 7, which is on state of conservation, and item 8, especially on the nominations. Now, under item 7, we have 3 separate items. One is the general item 7, where we will discuss general issues on state of conservation. It's again an item which we will present, but then we keep it open, because during the discussions on specific state of conservation items, you may have a general debate which you may wish to reflect under item 7. I remember at one committee session we had in the decision of item 7 60 paragraphs. Is that correct? Yes. Which was quite a lot, but it showed what was very important for the World Heritage Committee, to take lessons learned from specific cases into the general debate on item 7. Then we have item 7A, which means those sites inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger, where we have a reporting requirement to the World Heritage Committee, and item 7B, which is the state of conservation of properties on the World Heritage list. Now, you can see here the figures. We have a total of 166 reports. You may think this is a lot. This is definitely a lot, because the committee took a decision that the committee wishes only to look up to 150 reports per session, which require decisions of the committee. Now, we are not capable to stick to 150 because we have so many issues at World Heritage Site. And for me, this is an alarm clock. We bring only the top of the iceberg to the attention of the World Heritage Committee, but it's actually really an alarming situation. So we have 54 reports under 7A, which is sites on the danger list and 112 reports under item 7b. Let us look at the dispatch situation, next one. I'm very happy that we made it for the first dispatch, which is our statutory deadline. As you all know, I keep to statutory deadlines, which is 6 weeks prior to the session. So we did a big dispatch on the first dispatch on the 20th of May. And here you see the second dispatch will be going on the 7th of June. So that means for the documents on state of conservation, we had nearly 100 state of conservation report. I think the correct figure was 96. I'm looking at Richard, who is controlling me on state of conservation. So we dispatched already 96 reports. And the other reports you will see in the next dispatch on 7th of June. Let us look a little bit at the statistics. Mr. Chair, I'm very, very proud to report that this year the states parties did extremely well. That means most of you here in the room, you did really extremely well because we got 99% of the state party reports. I have not seen this in my 28 years working with this convention. So I think that is an extremely good result. Bravo. Because I personally think it shows also the commitment of the states, and it also shows that the committee has a very important role to play to encourage states to really report back. Because the most difficult situation, I remember an exchange we had at the last session of the committee with the delegate from Tunisia, it brings the committee in a very difficult situation if the committee doesn't have the information from the states itself. So I think that is quite a good result already. Now, in terms of how do we deal with this avalanche of reports, Mr. Chair, because you will be chairing. So let us look. We have a document which is INF 7, which proposes a number of reports for discussion, especially the selection of the sites where the committee needs to take certain decisions, removal from the list of World Heritage in Danger, for example, or moving a site from the World Heritage list into the list of World Heritage in Danger. These are decisions the committee has to take, so we will select a number of sites which you definitely have to discuss. But then we have the procedure, next slide please, where committee members, and I'm underlining committee members because sometimes I get emails from others, this is not the procedure, it's the World Heritage Committee meeting taking the decision. So there is a deadline for requests. So if any committee member wishes to open another site for discussion, and we are talking about document INF 7. So for committee members, that's a crucial document. You have until 19th of June to present this request, but you have also to tell us the reason why you would like to open this site for discussion. Okay, this is very important. So in the evening then of 19th of June, we look how it looks like also in terms of how we manage time at the World Heritage Committee session. Now, the next slide, you can take out your smartphones and take a photo, but we will put this PowerPoint also on our webpage, of course. But this is a critical slide when you want to come to the World Heritage Committee, including for your site managers, some of whom are already there. This is the order of the state of conservation discussions. So we start this year with natural sites. We go to the mixed sites and then the cultural, and the order is Arab states, Asia Pacific, Europe and North America, Latin America and the Caribbean, and Africa. We change this order every year so that we treat all the regions of the world equally, and this is the order we have this year. So it's good that you keep that in mind for your discussions at the committee. Now, as you all know, we have a database on the committee decisions. It's one of the most used web pages in UNESCO, and not only internally in UNESCO, it's used by all of you, including for preparations of your reports, we noticed. It provides you with any single decision and document related to state of conservation since the committee inscribed the first sites in 1978. So it's an enormous database on all of your sites, and it exists in English and French, and you can use it also for your own preparations to see what happened to your sites even before at the committee sessions. Now then we come to the second big item, which is item 8, very much awaited by many countries, I know. We have a new point 8, which is a general 8, similar to the general item 7 we have under state of conservation, because you had a number of general discussions also under nominations, which we cannot cover under a specific nomination or boundary modification or whatever. So you had some general reflections, and we would like to bring that up under item 8. So that means we are opening item 8, and we keep it open throughout the debates you have on nominations, and then we close it at the end, and the committee members may wish to reflect some of the discussions the committee had in the final decision under item 8. Now then we start with item 8A. This is something the committee takes note of. It's the tentative list presented by state parties until 15th of April, so anything which came later after that date is not covered in this document. And then we come to the much awaited 8B, which is nominations to the World Heritage List. Now let us look at the situation this year. We have the statistics as of yesterday. A total of 38 nominations to be examined. Originally, we had 42, you know, huh? I think, I'm looking at Alessandro, who is controlling me, yes, on the nominations. So, the statistics as of yesterday is 38 nominations will be examined. Among them 6 natural, 2 mixed, and 30 cultural nominations. Out of which 31 are new nominations. We have 1 significant boundary modification, and we have 6 deferred or referred nominations. We already have 5 nominations which were withdrawn, and this is mostly the case for non-recommended from the advisory bodies. And we have 13 minor modifications of boundaries. Now let us look at the statistics in a table, and it looks as follows. For inscription, we have natural sites 3 recommendations for inscription, 1 mixed, 17 cultural, which means a total of 21 nominations are recommended for inscription by the advisory bodies. Now we have on the referrals, 4 referrals proposed by the advisory bodies which are cultural. We have for the deferrals 1 natural and 4 cultural, which makes a total of 5. Then we have 1 extension which is proposed for approval, which is a mixed site. For non-inscription, we have 1 natural and 2 cultural, which means a total of 3 non-inscriptions as of yesterday. And we have the decisions, there will be still decisions which come up in the second dispatch, which was not new nominations but referred back nominations, etc., of which 1 is natural and 3 cultural. So in the next dispatch you will have 4 decisions which come out on the 7th of June. which makes a total of 6 natural nominations to be examined, 2 mixed, 30 cultural nominations, a total of 38, which is still, Mr. Chair, quite a high number, so which makes our timelines a little bit difficult, but I'm sure we will manage. Now let us also look at these recommendations by regions, because that's also interesting. We have 1 recommended for inscription from the African region, 2 from the Arab region. For the Asia-Pacific region, 8 inscriptions, 2 deferral, 1 will come later in the 8 ad document. For Europe, 9 inscriptions, 4 referral, 1 deferral, 3 non-inscription, 1 approved extension, and 3 further decisions which will come in the next dispatch. For Latin America, 1 inscription, 2 deferrals, and which makes a total of 3, and then the overall total, you can see it ends up to 38 nominations to be examined. And as I said before, we have 2 sites already withdrawn from the Arab region, and 3 sites already withdrawn from the Europe and North American region, which makes a total of 5 nominations withdrawn, and there may be between now and when the committee meets, there may be other withdrawals which may come in. So the number of 38 is not the final number, but that depends on decisions in the countries concerned, or sometimes several countries concerned in the case of serial and transnational nominations. Now, very important slide now, it's the order of nominations. We will start with Africa, going to the Arab states, Asia Pacific, Europe and North America, and Latin America and the Caribbean, and that will be followed by the minor boundary modifications subsequently. So that's the order. We will proceed like this. And then, as I said before, we have item 8D, which is clarification of boundaries of properties, and item 8E, which is the review and approval of retrospective statements of outstanding universal value. And then we come to item 8C, which is then the total numbers, where we'll give you, Alessandro and myself give you the figures, meaning including those you have removed from the list of World Heritage in Danger, you have inscribed. This year we have also recommendations under nominations for inscription plus list in danger. This is not unusual, but it happened several times before. So we will provide you with a full update after we have concluded the discussions of item 7 and item 8 and the decisions taken by the World Heritage Committee in this regard. Now, as I just said before, we have this general item 8, where you may wish to reflect on some issues concerning the nomination process, and which came up during the debates of the World Heritage Committee. So then we will close this item, and with this we close the whole item 8. And come to another group of items which we need to discuss. We will discuss the follow-up to the capacity building strategy and the progress report on UNESCO Category 2 centers, which has been prepared with our colleagues from ICROM and the other advisory bodies. And we go then to the group of items 10. With 10A, we give you a progress report on the follow-up to the second cycle of periodic reporting. 10B, the progress report on the preparations and the ongoing cycle, third cycle of periodic reporting. 9A, also a very important document which is on the upstream processes, so which is much awaited by a number of state parties, and an item 9B, which is prepared with the advisory bodies, which is the progress report on the reflection on processes for mixed nominations, where some progress has been made on how ICOMOS and IUCN can collaborate on mixed nominations. Item 11B, the policy compendium, so we will give you the update on the situation with regard to the policy compendium, and we will also close item 7, as I said before, which is the general item on state of conservation reports and general issues related to state of conservation, so where committee members have maybe added other issues to the draft decision. Then we come to international assistance, straightforward. The committee will look into the international assistance, and then we come to item 14, which we close then, which is the report on the execution of the budget and the budget proposal from the World Heritage Fund for 2021. And that means the report from the consultative body, which was established the first day, so we close this item after the budget group has met. And the same is true for item 11A, which is the revision of the operational guidelines. So we report back on the working group on the operational guidelines under this item. And we also close item 12, which is anything which may came up in addition to the report from the ad hoc working group and the outcomes. Maybe the committee has added anything new to this item, so we will close that. And then we come to any other business, which is our item 15. And very importantly, item 16. Which is the election of the new chairperson, the vice chairpersons, and the rapporteur for the next session of the World Heritage Committee, which is the 44th session in 2020. That means it would be very useful if the different groups can already consult. The chairperson will remind the groups when we meet with the Bureau on the Sunday already, so that you can consult during the World Heritage Committee session on the selection of the Bureau members, rapporteur and chairperson. And then item 17, the provisional agenda for the next session in 2020, and with the help of our rapporteur, who will then present the report of the decisions, which is item 18. She will run you through, and hopefully it will be then adopted, and then we will have a closing session with item 19. Of which I'm very sure the chairperson will be much relieved to reach item 19. Now, there are two web addresses I would like to flash out to you on the screen here. One is where you can find all the documents on our webpage. There will be also, for those who have to stay here in Paris, the link to the live stream. And for the committee members, especially the email address of the rapporteur. So with this, I finish the presentation of the preparations for the committee. Maybe there are any questions, Mr. Chair? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that so detailed explanation is quite important, and everyone was listening very carefully. So if there are any questions, this is not the matter of the discussion of the matters here, because those all questions will be discussed during the session itself. So this is the informational session, so only questions, if any. You're welcome. I don't see any. It means our consultants.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could I just clarify your slide on the order for item 8? I think the French translation and the English were different, just to really totally confirm that nature comes before mixed, before culture, please.
Absolutely, and I see Mr. Balsamo, who is sitting just behind you, he is nodding. Alessandro, you confirm that nature comes first? That's a big relief for IUCN.
Any other question?
Switzerland.
I don't see. Switzerland, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Merci, Madame la Directrice, pour l'organisation de cette séance d'information extrêmement utile. J'avais une question relative aux observateurs. Vous vous souvenez qu'à la fin de la 42e session à Manama, il y a une série de pays observateurs qui avaient pris la parole. Donc je me souviens plus sous quel point de l'ordre du jour ça avait été fait. Je voulais savoir si il en serait de même à la 43e session ou quelles étaient les possibilités pour les observateurs de s'exprimer. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The observers can, of course, intervene. That's not a problem. But this depends on the items. For example, if Switzerland has a nomination, I cannot remember from the top of my head, of course you cannot just intervene. In case the committee is asking a specific question to the state party concerned, then you can intervene. On any general matters, the observers can intervene at any time, but it's the prerogative of the chairperson, especially in terms of time management, to reduce the number of minutes. We will have, of course, a timer, etc. But of course, I think this is especially very important because this convention concerns all of you, all the 193 countries, all the sites on the World Heritage List. So if you have any general observations, especially you can mention them under the general item 7, under the general item 8. Of course, observers have the right to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Korea, please.
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me for taking the floor again. Thank you very much for your very useful presentation. I would like to make a quick question on the side events. So the representative of the host country mentioned that they are receiving more than 20 requests about the side events, and indeed our government has also submitted a request for the side events and waiting for the confirmation. So I would like to know if the timetable for the side events have been finalized yet, or is it still in the process of coordination, and when we can receive the concrete feedback for our requests for the side events so that we can take necessary steps to preparation for the events. Thank you.
For the side events, I think we accepted all necessary requests. Until now, we are trying to look them through. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Basically, the requests for side events are being sent to the World Heritage Center, who is, of course, collaborating with the authorities of the host country. Currently, all requests have been reviewed. The timeline was up until the 10th of May, if I'm not wrong, for submitting requests. And our colleagues from the meeting section, I don't remember exactly what's the name, but the people who was PCM, who are helping us with the logistics, they have been contacting, are in the process of contacting all those that have requested side events to inform them about the concrete modalities, whether it's approved, and to put them into contact with the host country authorities, which will then provide more logistical information about the organization. So if you haven't been contacted by that time, I suppose this is an ongoing process and you'll be contacted soon. Thank you.
Until now, we have 35 requests. We try to accommodate all of them, but we have to check all these new proposals due to the possibility of the venues and the places. This is the only matter which we're concerned about. Anyway, the deadline is behind, but if there are any urgent requests after that, we will be glad to support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank Madame Rossler for her very informative presentation. I would like to just focus on one agenda item 5D, Priority Africa Sustainable Development and World Heritage. As it is rightly mentioned by Madame Director, it is for the first time the committee will discuss this very important agenda item, and I'm very pleased that delegation of Azerbaijan, along with the delegation of Brazil, co-sponsored this inclusion of this agenda item into the agenda of the Baku session. It was done in Bahrain last year, and we are very pleased that this agenda item is there. We didn't have time to look through the document presented on under this item, but I would encourage the members of the committee to exert all their inputs and the efforts for the effective deliberations and reflections on this issue, as it requires an urgent actions from the members of the committee, but from the entire international community. So again, I would like to thank the Secretariat on this document. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous remercier pour toutes les informations pertinentes qui nous ont été communiquées sur le déroulement de la 43e session du Comité du patrimoine mondial. Merci à Madame la directrice du Centre pour sa présentation ainsi que pour toutes les explications qui ont été fournies. Et surtout cette vidéo, comme elle a dit, qui sera fort utile pour les membres du groupe électoral 5A qui sont actuellement en réunion plénière. Je voudrais tout d'abord faire écho à ce que l'ambassadeur d'Azerbaïdjan a dit pour l'inscription du point 5D, et qui pour notre groupe est un point très important. Et justement, notre préoccupation, c'était de nous assurer qu'au titre de ce point, il y a quelque chose de concret en termes de décision, de projet de décision. Nous souhaiterons en tout cas que nous soyons impliqués avec le Centre du patrimoine dans le cadre de la préparation de cette décision. Ma deuxième préoccupation porte sur les réunions du groupe de travail du comité. Généralement, au cours de la session, il est question de rencontres pour valider les différentes concertations qui se sont tenues tout au long de l'année. Je n'ai pas perçu la programmation de cette réunion du groupe de travail en parallèle de la session plénière du comité. Je voulais juste m'assurer que c'est bien programmé. Merci, Madame la Directrice.
I would like to thank very much for the interventions of the ambassador of Azerbaijan and the intervention from Burkina. The item 5D will be dispatched with the next dispatch. So on 7th of June, you will have the document. And I fully support you need to look very carefully at this document and discuss also among yourselves if there's any addition needed to the draft decision. Now, in terms of working groups, I'm not sure I fully understood. You had the ad hoc working group, and that report will be provided to the World Heritage Committee. And then you have two groups during the World Heritage Committee, which is the operational guidelines and the budget group. And they will be established on the first day of the World Heritage Committee. I'm not aware of any other group, but maybe our rapporteur, no.
Madame la directrice, c'est bien de ces deux groupes que je voulais faire allusion. Donc, merci de confirmer qu'elles seront créées et qu'elles vont se tenir également.
Tout à fait, madame. Donc, les deux groupes sont créés le lundi à Bakou. Merci.
Merci. Philippines, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, and thank you for organizing this meeting and the useful information. We'd like to also thank Director Rosler for the briefing. Our question pertains to item 7, considering the large number of SOC reports that will be considered at the session, as well as the decision not to have evening sessions. We're just wondering, is there a possibility then that consideration of item 7 might spill over to an additional day, as seen on the timetable? Could it perhaps spill over into the 5th of July? This is important just for scheduling purposes. Should we have experts from Capital, for instance, also going to the meeting? So we just wanted to check if this is a possibility or not. Thank you.
We will try to manage with the schedule, but if there will be some extraordinary prolongation of the discussion, I think that we will find out the solution. Generally, I would like not to go further and to finish with the time schedule we approved. We will approve there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for arranging this information session, which is very much useful. Azerbaijan has a tradition of being an excellent host country, and we are looking forward to it. I also thank the Director WHC for her very comprehensive presentation. My question is that the orientation session for committee members during 43rd session at Baku is open to observer member states. May I know whether today's orientation session is also open to observer member states? The one that will start at 11:30. Thank you.
It is. Both of them are open for the observers. Norway, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and also thank you very much for this useful information. Norway is indeed looking forward to going to Baku for this committee meeting. I just wanted to follow up very quickly on the intervention from Switzerland about observers intervening during the meeting. So for Norway, it is very important indeed that all stakeholders are included in the work of this convention. So we very much encourage also to let representatives from civil society and NGOs to intervene, of course, when appropriate, as well as state parties observers to the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Norway. Of course, NGOs can intervene. As you know, there will be also an NGO forum on the 29th, the day before. So there have been decisions by this World Heritage Committee, especially in Krakow in 2017, which welcomed a new dialogue with civil society. And as you know, you will have in the committee room, Mr. Chair, we have 3,000 people. There are many, many NGOs. They are very much involved in World Heritage, very much concerned about some of the sites. So they will be sitting in the back of the room, and they make regular interventions, sometimes grouped interventions, on, including on item 7, which is the general item on state of conservation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? So if any, we will be ready to answer them after this session too, and of course at the Baku meeting we will finalize all the matters which can occur before that time. So now we have finished with the session of information regards the organization of the session in Baku. We will now turn to the orientation session, which is dedicated to committee members, but it was noted that the countries who want to participate can stay. When? Before that?
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Not there.
Not there. So, but should before the session. Yes. Those who don't want to participate, they are free to leave the room. But before that, before the opening of this next session, I would like to give the floor to Madame Rossler to give our information about the budget matters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I don't think you should leave now, because we come to a very important point, which is the briefing on the budget. This was also a formal decision of the World Heritage Committee to do a brief budget briefing. Now, I run you through quickly because you will have the budget group, but those who wish to come to the budget group, it would be very important to look at that. Next slide, please. We have three sources of funding, which is the World Heritage Fund, the regular program, the extra budgetary funds from our donors and partners. Next slide, please. We have a total of the extra budgetary funds, which is 8.4 million, which depends, of course, on the donors or partners' interest. And I have to say, this is a very much an unpredictable source of income, and it's also unsuitable for statutory activities, and it also limits the availability and impact of this type of funding. Now, if you look at our regular program, this is 11.3 million, which covers the staff, which is 28 posts at the World Heritage Center, and the activities of our field offices. I would like to underscore that the level of staff resources available depends on decisions of the governing bodies of UNESCO, which means the Executive Board and the General Conference, whereas the activities of the Secretariat as World Heritage Secretariat are decided by the governing bodies of the Convention, meaning the Committee and the General Assembly. Sometimes this creates an issue of these two situations, because the activities requested by the committee are continuously increasing, while human resources, etc., are actually declining. Now, the World Heritage Fund, if you look at that, has for 2018-19 5.3 million, which is contributions by state parties to the World Heritage Convention, which is roughly in line with the income expected. So this income comes from contributions of state parties which pay 1% of their contribution to UNESCO into the World Heritage Fund. So we have both compulsory contributions and, in line with Article 16.2 of the World Heritage Convention, assessed voluntary contributions. Now, you all know that this income will not actually increase much in the future, because this World Heritage Convention is universal. Mr. Chair, we have 193 countries, you all know. We have 3 different from UNESCO, yes? The Vatican, Israel, and United States are members of the World Heritage Convention. Now, we cannot expect any increase, so any increase can come only from supplementary voluntary contributions, such as the doubling of contributions by some countries in line with decisions of the General Assembly. Now, the status of the contributions is here, as you can see on the next slide. The compulsory contributions, 92%. And the voluntary contributions, there is a big difference because not all of the compulsory contributions have settled, but less than half of the voluntary ones have been received. So that's, of course, an area of concern. Now, the status of contributions as of 30th of April, you can see here. So I would like to remind all to settle their assessed contributions as early as possible, since we need to have cash to pay the activities foreseen in the budget. And then you can see the statement of contributions on our webpage. If you would like to check before you go to Baku, whether you have settled your contributions. That would be very important. But also let me remind you of a major change in communicating the amounts due to the World Heritage Fund, which would no longer be sent in printed form, but they are posted online. And you have received a letter to that effect from the Assistant Director General for Administration and Management, and we recalled it in our last circular letter on 4th of April. So in case you have not paid, please do so. Here you see in the next slide also the roadmap for sustainability of the World Heritage Fund, including the doubling of contributions, which was the so-called option 1. In 2017, we had no state party doing that. 2018, we had 4 state parties. And our target for 2020, with your support, would be 10 state parties. So we hope we manage that. We have also started with a resource mobilization and communication plan, and for the 2-year period, and we will provide a report on this to the World Heritage Committee. I think we had quite encouraging results, I have to say. The target of 250,000 for the World Heritage Fund was reached, and the target for extra budgetary funds was largely exceeded, because especially a single big project, otherwise we were close to 2.5 million, but exceeding is very nice. And then we have the next slide, the resource mobilization communication plan. We have done a stakeholder mapping, and you see exactly that it's mostly state parties which have contributed 63% of the funds received in 2018, either via contributions to the fund or bilateral agreements. And we have also some other bodies, such as the World Bank and EU. So we have quite a success of the resource mobilization strategy. And you see that in this diagram that private sector partnerships and foundations should be targeted further. We see here in the next slide the support for the fundraising. Fundraising activities, in-kind, communication advice, prospecting potential donors, and advocating for World Heritage. We will detail this also further in our documents to the World Heritage Committee. And next slide, this is the document where you will have, further information, and this will be online in June. So with this, Mr. Chair, I just would like to conclude on the briefing on the budget situation, which is useful especially for committee members going to the World Heritage Committee in Baku.